I'm going to call this meeting of the Heritage Advisory Committee to order, please. Please note that we do have 3 members present, Don Aitchison, Frances Lapointe, and Kate Sheldon. We have in attendance virtually Kelly West, Manager of Planning, and we also have a member of the public, Veronica Madonna, in attendance virtually as well. To start this meeting, I do need to call for nominations for the position of Chair and Vice Chair of the Heritage Advisory Committee for the remainder of the 2026 term of Council.
Hi, Kate. Do you have any experience chairing committees? Kate, can you hear us?
Yes, sorry. Do I have any experience chairing committees? I do not.
Okay.
We can provide you with guidance, and that staff will be able to provide you with that. But we do need to have someone. Yeah.
Can I nominate myself, or?
If you'd like to step up.
Well, I'll nominate you.
Okay.
So Francis for chair. Do we have a nomination for the position of vice chair?
You can nominate me.
Doug.
Don.
Don. Oh, sorry, Don.
Okay.
Doug is, yeah.
Okay. Do I hear any objections or other nominations from the committee? Everyone in approval? Can I see a show of hands? Okay. Carried. Okay. This is where you...
So I'd like to ask if anyone has any pecuniary interest, conflicts of interest with the items for today's agenda. Okay, thank you. And looking for a motion to adopt or to approve the minutes from last meeting, which was...
First off, is a motion to adopt the agenda.
Oh, yeah, sorry, yeah. A motion to adopt the agenda first. Anyone? So, can I need a mover and a seconder? So, not a lot of choices.
I guess.
Kate first.
Okay, Kate will move, and Doug will second.
No,
Okay.
on the minutes.
I wanted to have a discussion about the last minutes. Can I add that at the end of the meeting, or?
No, before, you have to do it before they're approved.
Okay.
So is there something in the last minutes that...
I just want to follow up with them, essentially. Follow up with the items from the last minute and just discuss what's the status.
Okay, that'll be after, that'll be new and
Yeah.
old business.
New and all business? Okay.
So point of order for a second, though. Since we have 2 new members that were not in attendance at that meeting, Louise, can they vote on those minutes?
I will have to check on that. My instinct is no, because they were not in attendance at the meeting. So the minutes may just have to be presented.
Yeah, that's what I was going to suggest.
So we can't approve those, we will have to present them.
Okay.
So now we can move on to 6. Request any public input. If there's any members of the public.
Did we do 5? I thought we just approved the agenda first and then,
We approved the agenda.
yeah.
Now we're going, because You guys weren't here for the last,
I was,
you were,
but not the other two,
but
okay.
Don wasn't.
So they can't approve the minutes, okay, I understand, yeah, all right. So next item on the agenda is public input, and is there anybody here who has any comments other than the group for the Wooler project? I think, well, that's item 7. So is anyone else here who has any comments online? I don't see anyone. All right, so item number 7, delegations and presentations. So we have, should I ask staff to speak first on the matter and then ask Bob?
We'll ask Bob and then staff can.
Okay. So Bob Lawson is here to present regarding the Wooler Street School, or not sure what it's called.
My name is Bob Lawson, and I'm the chair of the Wooler and Area Community Organization. I'm here with Laird Nelson, who's one of our members. And on the line, we've got Veronica Madonna from Veronica Madonna Associates, architects, who is our architect, who's been advising us on this project and also wrote the Heritage Impact Statement. I'm assuming you've had a chance to look at this material, so I'm not going to go through it in a lot of detail, but if I'm getting a sense that you would like me to cover it, I'm happy to do so. Do you have a sense as the chair?
Do you have a PowerPoint, or does Veronica have a PowerPoint presentation, illustrations, drawings, photographs, that kind of thing?
Yeah, they were provided to the committee some time ago. Do you have it available to show it? This was our actual heritage application that we sent in. I assumed you'd received it and had a chance to review it. But we can go through it.
Yeah, if you could, that'd be great. We have 2 new members who wouldn't have seen it.
Oh, sorry,
Yeah.
I thought you would
Yeah.
get it beforehand. So is the committee, do they have a copy of this material?
We have the staff report is what we were given.
Okay. Okay, well then let me just quickly go through
Yeah.
it.
The major points, yeah.
Yeah. So basically, the background on this property and this building is it was the site of education in Wooler since the 1800s. We had a log cabin school, then we had a clapboard school, and then they built this building in 1915. It was built by the community, raising money from the community through debentures. And in 1928, they put an addition on the school to add the high school. So the building you see today is the 1915 structure plus an addition on the top to create the structure that we have. And until 1955, it acted as the elementary school and secondary school for Wooler and the area. We're called the Wooler and Area Community Organization because we take in a lot of people from the surrounding area that have attended the schools. And in 1955, part of it became a scout hall, and in 1968, my father was on the group that purchased the school from the school board and turned it into the scout hall. It operated as a scout hall until the pandemic, and then it was sold by Scouts Canada to the market, and we've reached an agreement with the owner of the school, and we purchased it in October. So now it is the possession of the Wooler and Area Community Organization, and our heartfelt desire is to restore it over this coming year. We received a federal grant to do so, and we're about 3 years into this project in terms of design development and site plan development. We've had our site plan submitted to Quinte West. Veronica has been working with us for a number of years in this project, and today we're really going over the application, our heritage application, to begin to do the work on the school in the coming year. As I mentioned, we received $1 million grant from the federal government, the Green and Inclusive Community Programs and Community Building Program. And so a lot of our work on the schoolhouse is aimed at its preservation and its adaptation to modern building code standards to allow it to be used as a community assembly hall function. Wooler used to have a community hall, community building, and the school. We lost the community hall when it was demolished in 2012. So this is really the last community space in Wooler, and we're very excited about renovating it and bringing it into community service. We love this building because many of the people, like Laird in our group, we used this building for decades as our local community center for both scouts, community activities, banquets, you name it, it was held in this building, music events. So up until the pandemic, when it was sold by Scouts Canada, we're the successor group to our organization, maintained this building. So we love this building deeply. I learned how to skateboard in this building and play ping pong and you name it. I say that because we love it, because we love its heritage aspects. You know, we love the fact that it looks the way it does, and it presents the prairie-style architecture and unique designs that it has. And so our heart is in this heritage preservation project. Our pocketbook is also in this as well, because we feel that preserving the heritage features of the building is actually an advantage to us in our using this building in the future as a landmark destination in Wooler and for community events. Our proposed renovations are therefore not to change the building very much at all. In fact, our plan is to restore all of the exterior designated heritage features to their original state. So will be all the trim, the paint, the look and feel of the building from the front, you know, the concrete exteriors. We're committed to restoring back to, you know, very similar designs to what existed when the building was developed. We include in this changing the insul brick, which is been there for several decades. And so in maintaining the look of the building and the heritage features, we'll be removing the insul brick, but replacing it with a similar material, similar color, similar patterns. We're also looking at restoring the front doors to the original look from 1915. And we've been guided very ably by Veronica in all of this, and Veronica has extensive experience with heritage buildings. From a materials perspective, we plan to do the same kind of cladding look from a colors, again, replicating the color of the red brick look at the upstairs. We've spoken to masonry people who are experts in heritage restoration of masonry, and all the masonry work that we have to do, we'll bring it, just repair it and keep the same color and material look. Windows, lintels will all be the lintels will be maintained, but the windows will be replaced with the same sort of design and dimensioning. So again, we're glass dimensions, everything is going to be replicated in terms of the new materials. The addition is what is new here, and we've taken great care to put the addition at the back of the building so that the look from the street is the same. It'll look the same, but behind the building, and you can see the various dimensions in our application of how that looks. And that will add a elevator, a fire compliant exit that will allow us to get into the building properly, and basically provide us with a new entrance that's fully accessible for the public. We're also doing a lot of work on energy efficiency so that we're making sure this building is going to be sustainable and energy efficient in the future. And those design features are being carefully integrated so that we don't put, you know, large chillers on the outside of the building to visually create different barriers. So I may turn to Veronica in a minute or two to get her to comment briefly on the addition and the heritage impact assessment that she's completed. But just before I turn it over to her, you know, the interior features are not covered by our agreement with Quinte West, but we want the committee to know, again, from the heart, we love this building on the inside as well. What's really unique about this building is the second floor, where the high school, built in 1928, remains untouched. We restored the interior tin ceilings with a retired professional painter, but we're taking great care to maintain everything that's unique about the interior and the prairie style. So the wainscoting, the beautiful woodwork, pocket doors, tin ceilings, arts and craft interior designs, they're being preserved and maintained because, again, we feel it's a very distinct advantage to preserve this building with those features. Original maple flooring, I mean, it's quite remarkable. On the main floor, again, we're preserving all the wainscoting and look and feel, but that has been painted over the years. We did play a lot of floor hockey in that space, but it's being brought back to its original design as well. So you walk into this building, you'll be walking into a genuinely well-preserved heritage building. And we're also taking great pains with the addition to make sure that it fits. And maybe I'll now turn it over to Veronica to say a few words about her approach to the massing and form of the building. We've been really blessed by a lot of friends helping us with this project. Until we got a $1 million grant, we were working pretty hard faking it until we made it. And Veronica's been with us on that journey, along with some other friends who really urged us to really maintain the heritage features of the building and build an addition that's appropriate, and again, helping us with a great deal of expertise. So maybe I'll turn it over to Veronica, and then I'll answer any questions you may have.
Thank you. Veronica, next.
Great, thank you. Thank you, Bob, and thank you, Chairman and members of the committee. Can you hear me okay? Perfect. Would it help if I share my screen? I could share just the application that was provided. Can you see that okay?
Yes.
Okay, wonderful. So this is the rear view of the Old Wooler Schoolhouse. I could maybe just show you here. This is the elevation from the street view, and our addition is completely in the rear of the site and the building, and it's stepped in quite a bit so that we very minimally can see it from the street edge. So not to interrupt the overall reading and massing of the existing building. A couple of things about the existing building is that we recognize that it was built in a prairie style type with these large eaves and kind of medium pitched roofs. So we really tried to work that as well into the addition. The addition itself is sized for a sufficient size exit stair and elevator for accessibility purposes, and an entryway that the communities group can now use as an entry into the building to bring some larger objects into the building for different events and whatnot that might be hosted there. So there isn't a lot of extra space that's added here. It's simply to service, to make it to add the extra secure safety and fire safety for the stair, as well as the accessibility. In terms of the style itself, we wanted to maintain the same pitch of roof, so we're mimicking the pitch of the roof. We are also looking to complement the existing material, not replicating it, but with a kind of lighter, similar palette of colors and materials, so that it distinctly reads as a new part, not to interrupt what was new and what was old, but also to complement the existing. We're also introducing a canopy at the entryway in order to shelter those coming into the building from rain and other types of weather events, so they can have a nice ease. And as people are in and kind of walking through this addition, they'll have a beautiful view to the rear of the site that it has a lot of nature and vegetation, which is part of the strategy for the new addition and building part here is to kind of connect to nature, to bring a sense of health and wellness to those who come and spend some time here. We are looking at building the addition in a wood frame structure to complement the existing building. Wood and heritage buildings work well together. They react in similar ways, so that is sympathetic in how the two buildings will marry each other, as well as make ease of connection to the existing building without damaging the existing building. We're making a very simple connection to the building. We are we're just kind of blocking in 2 windows and then utilizing an existing opening and maintaining the symmetrical nature of the original building, so that if ever there was a need to remove the addition in the future, the existing building will be intact. Which was an important consideration just in preservation of heritage structures. Here you can see minimal impact in seeing the addition from the road and then from the other view. It is heavily vegetated along this edge. The rendering does not show as heavily vegetated as it is, but it is heavily vegetated along the edge of that. Other than that, if there are any questions, I'm happy to answer them as well, unless there was something further you'd like me to address.
Thank you, Veronica. I do have a few questions. If you can bring us back to the rendering, yeah. There was some insule brick that's being removed and replaced with a hardy board siding, I believe. Is that correct? And that's the upper section?
In the upper section,
Yeah.
correct.
So what was the original material prior to the insule brick?
I believe the Insel brick was the original. Bob, would you be able to further explain that?
Originally, we didn't have a second story, so
Yeah.
originally it was all a concrete exterior. When they added it, we believe we only have one photo from that period from the 20s. It looked like they experimented with stucco, and it fell apart very rapidly. And so this was put on during the 40s, I think, when everyone was excited about Insel brick. But you can see it's been around at that look since at least the 40s with the red look, 30s or 40s.
Okay, so my concern was that if it was clapboard in the past, why we wouldn't look at clapboard today, but the Insel brick obviously is not a heritage type product. So what you're suggesting sounds like a good idea. Do any other committee members have any questions? And Kate, do you have any questions? You're online, so.
I did prior to the presentation, but they've all been answered. Thank you.
Okay. So maybe I can continue. There's some mentions about lintels. I think, is it Bob?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you mentioned lintels. Are we talking about structural lintels, masonry lintels, or what exactly is being replaced?
Sorry, I may have misspoke. The lug sills and lintels will remain.
Okay.
They're in good
Okay.
shape. They're one of the distinct features. They
Right.
really bracket those upper window structures, but they'll be maintained.
Okay, thank you. If I can have a motion from the committee? No? Not yet. Oh, sorry. Comments from staff, perhaps, or?
I don't have any comments right now for the committee when we move to the actual report, and that I can speak to that.
Okay.
So we can just
So-
thank Bob for his presentation
Yeah.
at this point and have him sit down.
Thank you, Bob, for your presentation, and you may take a seat.
Thank you, and thank you for coming out in the middle of the storm on our behalf.
We are
Thank you.
going to circle back to approval of minutes because you are able to approve them even though you weren't in attendance.
Okay. So the next item on the agenda is the approval of minutes, item number 5. We've discovered that we can hold a vote on that. So the other committee members, Kate and Dawn, right? Yes. Can I have a motion to approve the previous minutes?
You moved it last time.
Yeah.
I'll move that it's be adopted.
And seconder? Thank you, Kate. So the minutes are approved?
Now you can move on to 6 here. And this-
There's no other correspondence then?
There is no correspondence.
All right. So item number 9 is the staff reports and other decisions. So the first item A is the staff report for the Wooler Schoolhouse.
That's where you'll have Kelly speak.
And staff, Kelly, do you have any comments?
Sorry, bear with me. I'm jumping from different screens here, being virtual, going back and forth. This report was prepared by Davina Aseo, our policy planner, and she is away for the month of January. So I'm sort of sitting in looking at this report. If I go here, so the recommendation we've made is to approve. I will say, just looking at this, it looks like perhaps that we did provide an error, that package that Veronica was sharing on her screen should have been attached to that, and I've sent that, Louise, to yourself, if you can distribute it to the rest of the committee so that they have it. Now I've lost where I opened her report. I apologize. Hang on. Just open it again here. So yeah, as I said, we're recommending approval that the committee would then send this to council to approve this heritage permit to alter that designated property under Part 4 of the Ontario Heritage Act. I don't think any committee members were maybe part of the committee back in 2024 when we originally designated the schoolhouse as a heritage property. So it's fairly fresh on our registry. I think Veronica probably gave a way better presentation on the various pieces, as well as Bob, of what they're proposing to do. So I won't go through that again, and I'll just open it back up to the committee if there are any questions.
Thank you, Kelly. So do any of the members have questions for staff?
Hello. I just noticed at the end of the report, there was a couple of conditions with respect to thing that I assume that's just a normal, as a new person, a normal request on the approval.
Yes, I believe that's correct. That
Yeah.
the three conditions, the detailed drawings and materials, the cladding material, and the minor revisions are probably standard, yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So I'm looking for someone to move and then a seconder that the committee receives this report for information and that further the committee, in accordance with Part 4, Section 33 of the Ontario Heritage Act, recommend that the alterations proposed in Report 25-087 PD, being an application for a heritage permit to alter the designated property located at 62 County Road 5 in the Wooler Schoolhouse, for the purposes of undertaking exterior restoration work and constructing a rear two-story addition in accordance with the plan submitted by Veronica Madonna, OAA, member of the fraternal member of the Royal Architects Institute of Canada, be approved. Do I have a motion to approve? No, I mover. Thank you. And then someone second. Thank you, Kate. So the all in favor? Okay, the motion is approved. Carried. So the next item on the agenda is 9B, the Draft Heritage Conservation Agreement. And I'm looking to staff if they have any comments on this.
Thank you, through you, Chair. So this item on the agenda is a draft of an agreement that, again, Davina, our policy planner, has pulled together for your review and comment. And it really relates to actually item number 10A in your package, relating to the tax rebate bylaw that was passed late last year, where the municipality instituted a refund on those properties that are designated under the Ontario Heritage Act with a 40% discount on their property taxes. And part of the conditions in that bylaw, and I believe our requirement under the act itself, that we need to come up with an agreement between that property owner and the city that basically outlines that they understand that they do have this heritage designation and conditions for maintaining that heritage designation and penalties for removing the heritage elements of it. So this is a first draft. Like I said, we wanted to get your comments on it. We will be sharing it with our solicitor if it's not already in their hands to review as well. And once that's finalized, then we'll be reaching out to those property owners that would like to take part in the heritage tax rebate program, and who wouldn't, I guess, to that they would have to enter into this agreement with us before their application to participate in that rebate program is approved.
Thank you, Kelly. Are there any questions from the committee? And Kate, anything from you?
Not right now.
Okay, thank you. I did have questions myself, and as I read through it, I sort of answered my own questions, but I may need a bit of clarification on some items. So I'll skip that part. The one thing that I thought was interesting, I just wanted to make sure I understood that a property owner who applies for the credit, the tax credit, would have to be, their outstanding balances would have to be paid. So essentially, I think what I read here at 3.4 is that you pay all your taxes throughout the year, and at the end, the city will rebate you a check, essentially. Is that correct? Okay. And I wanted
That's
to make
my
sure.
understanding.
Yeah, okay. And then there's the Heritage Conservation Agreement, which I think is our next item, or is it being dealt with, this one? Draft of the easement agreement.
I think actually, now that I look at that
Or it
wording,
might be reversed?
It'd be controversy. Yeah.
I think we're reversed, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we'll continue. There were a couple things that I noted in item 6.2 or section 6.2, whatever it's described. Talks about proof of heritage designation. So I think that's clear. Once the building is designated, the owners would know. But I think we always have to think about it in terms of a new owner, and they may not know that their building is designated. So, but that would be available on the city website. And I wonder, I was trying to think about sort of every possibility, and if someone were to sell their building to a new owner, and the new owner did not know it was designated, would they know to search out for this, or would the city have, I think the city would have a policy, because if I read correctly, you'll reach out to the owners every year to ask about the rebate or send a check, but you'll be made aware once there's a new owner, so I think there'll be a process, and hopefully the new owner will be aware. I also noted that the agreement says that or the bylaw, that this tax rebate agreement is applicable to the property, so that any new owners, do they have to requalify or reapply if it's a new owner? I guess is one of the questions I had. Or does it automatically transfer? I think it said somewhere it was transferable, but I'm not sure if there has to be a process where the new owner would have to sign the same agreement. So that was one of the questions.
Since this is a new program, that's a good question, Francis. And I'll say that I would think that we would want a new signature of that new owner. So, but
Right.
that's a good question to clarify with the tax department to see what they would like.
And then I think for the potential new owner, I think most owners would probably tell a potential buyer through their real estate agent that, hey, this property is a designated property and it qualifies for a tax rebate. So I think that a new owner would already be aware, but I think we want to make sure that we cover all the bases. Next in the bylaw, 7.1 says that the city may inspect the eligible heritage property. As an architect, Veronica's not there anymore, but she would know the same. We frown on the use of the word inspect. We prefer word review because inspect entails responsibility for things that we maybe not be responsible for. So I think the city may want to change that word to review. The city may review the eligible heritage property.
Okay, thank you.
Again, for clarification, I think if I've read correctly in 9.1, the tax rebate shall be granted after the initial application, and then tax rebate will be applied automatically every year. So I think as long as the property owner pays their taxes at the end of the year or the new year, I guess, there'll be a check issued, so that's great. And then in 9.3, again, it says, upon the completion of an inspection carried out, it doesn't say by who, but I assume by the city. So I think it would be, again, instead of inspection, the word review there.
Sure, okay.
And that's it for the bylaw, which was item 10. I don't know how that, or 9, or 10A, I guess. So if we went back to the agreement itself, can I do that? Yeah, okay. Within the agreement, my first question was the transferable to a new owner, and I think just understanding how that works would be important. Then I think this was answered later on in the agreement, but under 2, there's discussions about preserving the heritage attributes. And I know that as an architect, I've dealt with a lot of heritage properties, and the heritage attributes will change over time as development is proposed. There'll be a building permit application, et cetera. So I think we just want to make sure that there's a record that something is not lost, in that I imagine a case where a building gets renovated properly through, building permit applications, et cetera, and then 2 or 3 years later, someone comes to review the project and notices that the chimney is gone, and then says, you can't have your tax rebate because the chimney is gone, but the chimney being removed is approved by the building permit process. So we have to figure out a way to make sure that the changes that are made to a building, as they always evolve, whether through changes as the Wooler Schoolhouse when there's an addition built, or whether there's a lightning strike that hits a chimney, or a tree comes down and breaks a chimney or something. We have to make sure that we recognize that, so that the property owner would not lose their tax rebate because the change was made that was approved. So I just making sure somehow we can link those things together somehow. So I'm not sure if that's covered somewhere in there.
So they have to get their heritage permit through you guys as a committee first. And council would approve that, and
Right.
then they would go to their building permit. And each of them is very specific, similar to the Wooler Schoolhouse, is that, there are specific things named off. These are the things
Yeah.
that are
The
heritage protected.
yeah, the heritage attributes.
So if the chimney was never part of that and it had to be removed, then they wouldn't automatically lose their designation because of that.
So
yeah.
I think it's the wording in 2.2 that's, I feel problematic. It says, to achieve this purpose, the owner and the city agree that the heritage attributes identified in Schedule B, and that Schedule B will be part of the heritage designation, part of potentially the heritage impact assessment, and I'm worried that the Schedule B will be stagnant and not updated after. So that's been my experience in other projects. The Schedule B was never updated. So even in my own property, there are mistakes in our Schedule B that we'd like to have corrected. Because if we apply, we don't want someone to say, where's your scallop shingles? There never were any scallop shingles. And then in our Schedule B, it says that we have our second chimney has been taken down, but it's there and it's existing today. So there are 2 corrections required. So if a city reviewer arrived on site with the Schedule B and looked up, they would say, well, this is not in accordance with Schedule B. So how do they know that there was other works? And if the property owner is there and they did the work, they could say, well, we applied for a permit, and go back and look at your office and there's a building permit. But if it's a new owner, they might not know, and then something could go wrong. So that was my biggest concern with that.
Okay.
Just how do we ensure that the Schedule B, the heritage attributes, are updated on an ongoing basis once and maybe it's an automatic process where if someone makes a change to a building, they come through to the Heritage Committee first, and then at that point, the attributes would be revised, the Schedule B would be revised and recorded on the Ontario Heritage Trust and in the city website, that kind of thing. Hopefully, that's how it would work.
Okay.
Sorry, just a couple more things. We in the committee the last few times have talked about this idea of insurance for heritage properties and how some people view that as a difficulty. So item 552 says that the property owner shall provide proof of insurance to the city upon request, and later on it says that the value of that insurance shall be enough to replace or repair the building, I believe. I'm just flagging that as an issue that I've not personally had an issue with. We did have a bit of difficulty getting insurance initially, but once we've got it, it was not a problem. So I know that other property or potential owners of properties that might get designated throughout Ontario, one of the critiques that we see online often is that it's difficult to get insurance for a heritage property. And there's been a provincial government document with the Insurance Board of Canada that has indicated that there's no impediment to getting insurance for heritage property. The impediment is if you have bad wiring and a bad roof and whatever else, just like any other building. It's not the fact that it's a heritage property that's a problem. It's the fact that there are problems with the property. So I'm flagging it in a sense that if a potential owner today were to read this, they might say, we had such a hard time getting insurance and, we probably won't get this. So it might seem like to a potential property owner who has a heritage property that wants to apply for this credit, that they might see that as a problem. So I'm not sure what to do about it though. Other than we talked before about providing that leaflet, that informational package, and that was one of the items in the minutes from the previous meeting that for potential owners and current owners that we should provide an information package saying, hey, like an FAQ, hey, these are the problems and these are the solutions, that kind of thing. So that might help have more people take up this credit or apply for this credit. And then I noted at 10.1, the agreement shall be registered on title to the property at the expense of the city. So I think that's good. And that's what, that means that a future owner, through their lawyer, when they purchase the property, would, in theory, be told that there's this agreement on the property. And those are all my comments. Any other comments after that from the rest of the committee?
I was thinking about the insurance question, but I didn't know how to frame it, so
Right.
thank you.
Okay, thank you.
So, through you, Chair, I didn't talk to Davina to determine if we're putting a sort of a time limit, if you wanted to take a little bit more time as a committee or as individuals, just reviewing this over to give us some more comments, but thank you, Chair, for providing what you had today. And I know this committee doesn't meet on a fairly regular basis, so I might suggest that if you wanted to take maybe a couple of weeks to the end of the month, perhaps, to review it and provide any comments, maybe directly back to Davina on that conservation agreement language that's in there.
Okay, that sounds like a good idea. Just a couple weeks, so I want to get this rolling. So I'm now,
The committee receives the agreement as information
okay,
and further, ... So the and further could be that the committee reviews it
okay.
and will provide comment to staff
Okay,
later then.
okay, so the committee has reviewed the information, or the agreement has information, and that we'd like a few weeks to come back to staff with any comments.
You wanted to put a time frame on that?
2 weeks, I think. Okay, Monday, February 2nd. Can I have a mover for that motion? Yay, Kate, thank you. And a seconder? Thank you, Don. Okay, item number 11. All in favor? Carried. Item on number 11 is new and other business. So item A, 11A is a discussion regarding the 3 to 4 properties that we had selected to be municipally listed prior to the reconfiguration of the committee, I guess. I think we'd want to put that aside for now and maybe have an off-the-record conversation with the committee members just to update us on those properties, to discuss them. Is that correct? Or is that okay? Yeah? Okay. So we'll defer that matter till the next meeting. So I'd like to add an item 11B, and that would be the property at 43 Queen Street that was not a designated building, but was a historical building. And it suffered a significant fire a few months ago and is now standing in a pile of rubble. My comment, and I'd like to hear comments back from the other members of the committee, would be I was wondering if we could ask council to ask the owner or insurer if some of the materials, some features of the building, heritage features, could be salvaged from the site and turned over to the Trentport Heritage Society. So, for example, and I'm sure if you guys are familiar with the building. Yeah. Yeah. So there's a very ornate stone arches over the windows, and several of them, probably about 7, 8, 9, 10. There may be in that pile of rubber a door that survived or some trim that survived and things like that. And I'm reminded of in the city of Toronto in Scarborough, the Guildwood Inn. There's a whole series of old arches and things like that from older buildings in Toronto when the demolition occurred that are being preserved. And I thought maybe the Trentport Heritage Society might want, even if it's just one archway, because it was such a significant carved archway. Or maybe there are some brackets that are remaining and things like that where we could figure out how to salvage that. And I guess we as a committee can't be walking on the property doing that, but perhaps we can ask council if the owner and or insurer would participate in that sort of salvage operation as opposed to just dumping everything. So I guess my question is, can we ask council to do that? And not sure how to frame it exactly.
Through you, Chair. Sorry, I can see maybe you're having a conversation with Louise, and maybe Louise has some comments as she's works in the clerk's department for us,
Kelly?
but
I was just suggesting to him that this could be brought forward as a decision item for a future agenda for the committee, and then it would then be presented to council after that meeting.
Sure,
What were your thoughts?
if that's procedurally probably the most correct way, but again, I go back to that this committee doesn't meet that often, and I don't know how long that debris is going to sit there and how much weather is going to sit on top of it and maybe ruin or damage. Like I think it's a great idea and would like to see us move forward on it sooner rather than later.
So can we propose a motion to ask council to make that request? Okay. So do I have to say the motion first? Yeah. All right. So I propose a motion that we, the Heritage Advisory Committee asks Quinte Council to ask the current property owner and or insurer whether they could work with us, committee members, to salvage portions of the heritage features of the building to be used as display items to be turned over to the Trentport Heritage Society, assuming they want them. Okay, can I have a mover for that, please? Kate, thank you. And a seconder?
I'll second that.
Thank you. All in agreement? Thank you. So the motion is carried. Is there, do any other committee members have any other items they'd like to discuss?
No.
Any new business? Oh, I want to talk about these. The last minute. So if I may now, I'd like to discuss the minutes of meetings from our last meeting, May 26, 2025. And I think some of it, and I'm not sure if staff will be able to provide an answer or not. I think since Davina was more involved with some of these, one of our items was that the city currently does not have a terms of reference for a heritage impact assessment. And I assume that the previous project, the Woolers Road Street, or Woolers Street School, Woolers Schoolhouse, they did submit a heritage impact assessment, and I'm sure it was quite good. My concern is that if we're going to be designating other properties, or hoping to designate other properties, that we have something formal set out in terms of a terms of reference for those heritage impact assessments, and that perhaps we should discuss whether they should be the boilerplate versions that we see everywhere, or whether they could be a bit simpler to make it easier to designate some properties so that we don't necessarily have to spend tens of thousands of dollars. So I think, I don't know if, Kelly, if you have any update on that, whether there's been any movement on that item?
Yeah, Chair. No, unfortunately, I don't have an update for you on that. We'll have to wait till Davina comes back.
Okay, and if maybe we can review it again at the next meeting. The previous chair, McIsaac, was questioning what resources were available to the committee, basically financial resources to go moving ahead with trying to designate some properties. And I will not say that had the 43 Queen Street property been designated, it may not have caught on fire or anything like that. I mean, that's not how it works. But there's a potential for, if properties were designated, then maybe we can discuss things like maybe those are the properties where the fire department might once a year go in and do a voluntary fire inspection or that kind of thing. I know the fire department does those on a regular basis. I know that I saw a notice about that. I think it was in September or October, saying that they would visit some properties in Trenton and Quinte West to do fire inspections, and it was a voluntary thing. But I'm warning about, if designated buildings were required to have a yearly or once every 2-year inspection by the fire department, maybe it would help preserve those buildings a little bit more. So again, and that goes back to resources and what does the committee have in terms of resources. So the minute says that Ms. West suggested 2 options, the first being a standing budget item for the city, and the committee would have to put together how much they would need and what the money would be used for, and this could be taken to council during the budgeting process, which is done in the fall. So we missed, obviously, this round. I don't think there was anything done for that. And then secondly, if there's a specific research task the committee wants completed, a direct ask via motion by the committee to council with information about how much they would anticipate the specific project would cost. So at this point, we'll talk at the next meeting about the potential 4 properties we thought should be designated, but I don't know that there's any funding to do so, to prepare a heritage impact assessment, to prepare, if it's not a heritage impact assessment, then at least a statement of the heritage features. So I don't know if Kelly, if you can describe that process a little bit for us, like if we were to suggest property A, B, C be brought forward for designation, would anything happen if there's no funding available to do that?
So you'll remember that the list that we have from the former LAC Act Some of those properties have been already researched, and I think the committee would have to look at those if they are on your list, on your short list.
Right.
That whether we already have information enough to bring it forward to meet the criteria under the Ontario Heritage Act. Maybe there won't be a need for any research other than just confirming that those features that we would be looking at preserving under either Part 4, I think it is, under Part 4,
Part 4,
that they're still there. That might be sort of just an observational research by knowledgeable people on the committee, perhaps. But if there isn't anything, then I think, yeah, we'd be going with that second process where we would also have to look at, okay, if we are starting from scratch and we have to do this full architectural assessment, then how much is that going to cost in order to get us to a point where we're comfortable to say, yes, this particular property meets the requirements that are under that on the Heritage Act, and we want to put it forward for designation. And we could put together that ask directly to council.
Okay, thank you. I think as well, maybe the members of the committee might meet at some point to review that list, the LACAC list, and then the other subsequent list that we prepared. And I think as well, we should decide what our priority is. So in essence, we could look for the apples that are easy to pick, or we could go for the tough ones. So there are properties that I've identified that are at risk of development, meaning that a developer might come along at one point and say, I'm going to buy that property, tear down that project and build X, Y, Z, versus properties that are well established in a residential neighborhood that are not likely to be changed. And it would be a good idea to designate them. And it might be easy, especially if the owners are on board. And I think part of that process would also involve reaching out to the community through advertising and emails and what have you, through the website, suggesting that we're starting that process and how we can go ahead. The concern I had is that how much of that can we do without funding, and how much of that is a volunteer side of thing, how much of that is staff able to do for us, that kind of thing. So I think maybe we can have an off-camera discussion about that at some point. That one of the items from the last meeting, not numbered, but Chair McIsaac and Mrs. CEO asked about a draft letter previously drafted intended to go to prospective heritage property owners. And again, a public member of the point mentioned that the draft letter should speak about the advantages of having a building designated and discuss what some of the myths surrounding becoming designated are. So just what is the status of that letter, I guess, from staff?
Again, I don't have an update for you. It's my understanding it's still really a draft for the new committee members in attendance today. We don't have a lot of resources, unfortunately, to dedicate to the committee and to this heritage preservation. Unfortunately, Davina is our only policy planner, and she has a range of duties, particularly with our new official plan coming into play in 2024, and looking at sort of tweaking some updates as well as some further issues that have come up. She's been dealing with those kind of housekeeping policy issues and housekeeping amendments then to our regulatory document under the official plan, which is our zoning bylaw. So as far as I know, the last discussion that I had with Davina in mid fall of last year was that letter is still just draft.
Okay, thank you. And the last item that from the previous minutes was that Chair McIsaac would like to put together a budget for research specifically related to those 4 potential properties for the committee that the committee had identified. And I'll take it upon myself to start that process as the new chair. And then I'll suggest to the other members of the committee that maybe we can meet at some point to talk through some of these options. Okay, is there any other comments or questions or new business from the other members? Okay, so I guess the meeting is adjourned, or do I have to?
Motion.
Okay. So can I have a motion to adjourn the meeting, please? A mover? Kate, thank you. And a seconder. Thank you, Don. Meeting is adjourned at 4:06 p.m. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.